You were never afraid of death. You were afraid of insignificance. Your name is Ozwell E. Spencer. And from the very beginning, you knew one thing. You were not like the others. You were born into wealth, into influence, into a world where power came naturally. But money was never enough, because wealth fades. Empires collapse. You wanted something greater. At university, you met the only two men who could even begin to understand your vision. Edward Ashford, a mind obsessed with perfection, and James Marcus, a man driven by discovery. Together, you were more than students. You were the beginning of something dangerous. You studied biology, genetics, evolution, not as knowledge, as tools. That's when you discovered it, a hidden truth buried within nature. The progenitor virus, ancient, powerful, a key to something beyond humanity, but it came with a cost. Most who were exposed died violently, uncontrollably, because progress demands sacrifice, and sacrifice never frightened you. You tested it on others first, then on yourself, and your body failed, collapsed. You were dying, but death was not your destiny. Because someone intervened. Miranda, a woman who had already crossed the line you were approaching. She saved you, not out of compassion, but recognition. She saw your ambition, your willingness to go further than anyone else. You learned from her, but you never followed her. Because she had a flaw she still felt, and emotion is weakness. You left her behind and took the future with you. Together with Ashford and Marcus, you founded something that would reshape the world. Umbrella, a company on the surface, a lie beneath it. Because hidden behind medicine was evolution. You funded it, controlled it, directed it. But power is never equal. Marcus became unstable. Ashford became distracted by legacy. They were brilliant, but they were not you. So you made a decision. You removed them, not with anger, not with hesitation, with precision, because people are tools. And when tools stop being useful, they are discarded. Umbrella expanded, facilities across the world, hidden laboratories, endless experiments. Umbrella didn't just grow, it fortified itself, because power without control is fragile. Science alone wasn't enough. You needed enforcement. So you created it, not publicly, but effectively. Umbrella's own military structure. The Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service. Soldiers trained not to save lives, but to contain disasters, to erase evidence, to clean what your experiments left behind. Disposable, replaceable, exactly as you intended. And above them, USS. Not soldiers, operators, silent, efficient, invisible. They didn't fight chaos. They secured your secrets, eliminated threats. Only results matter. Evolution was, and that required something more refined, more precise. That's when your attention turned to a different branch of Umbrella. Europe, Laboratory Number 6. A parasite, not a virus. Nemesis Alpha, a living weapon capable of intelligence, adaptation, obedience. You saw something close to perfection. Not chaos like the T-virus. Direction. You approved it, accelerated its development. A weapon that could think, track, hunt, not just kill, but execute. It was about creating control over monsters. That was the difference. And with UBC's USS and Nemesis Alpha, you didn't just build a company, you built a system. And then, you created something that reflected your mind. The Spencer Mansion, hidden in the Arklay Mountains. Not just a home, a fortress, a prison, a test. You hired an architect, George Trevor, a genius. He built everything exactly as you envisioned. Hidden passages, secret rooms, traps within traps. He thought it was a commission. He was wrong, because once it was finished, he became a problem. He knew too much. So you invited him and trapped him inside his own creation. He wandered the halls, starving, losing his sanity, writing messages no one would read. His wife eliminated. His daughter experimented on, not by accident, by design, because your mansion was never meant to protect. It was meant to observe, to test, to break. Years passed. Umbrella became unstoppable. The T-virus was perfected, a weapon, a tool, a step toward your vision. Then everything collapsed. The Arclay incident, Raccoon City, outbreak, destruction, erasure. To the world, it was a catastrophe. To you, it was confirmation. Humanity was weak, predictable, unworthy. Even your most promising creation, Albert Wesker, turned against you. But that didn't surprise you, because you created him to evolve. And evolution replaces its creator. You wanted selection, a world where only the worthy remain. As Umbrella fell, you disappeared, because empires don't matter, only ideas do. Years passed. The world believed you were gone, but you were still there, watching, waiting. And then you allowed yourself to be seen. A rare decision. You granted an interview to a journalist. Alyssa Ashcroft, curious, persistent. She believed she was uncovering history, but she was standing in front of it. The interview was controlled. She asked about Umbrella, about the outbreaks, about the millions who died. You didn't deny it, you didn't apologize, because to you, it was never failure. It was progress. Then, you showed her something unexpected. A girl, Grace, your adopted daughter. Silent, observing, watching everything. Just like you once did. A new generation. Not born into your world, but shaped by it. Proof that legacy is not just created through science, but through influence, through control, through design. And yet, there was something more, something hidden even deeper, a project beyond Umbrella, Elpis. Elpis, a cure, a countermeasure to everything you helped create, not out of guilt, not out of regret, but necessity. Because control requires balance. Elpis was not mercy. It was power, a way to decide who survives and who doesn't. Alyssa didn't understand. She saw something human in you. She was wrong. Even now, you weren't fixing the world. You were refining it, because the experiment never ended. It evolved. Years later, you were found, old, weak, dying, but your mind was still sharp. And then he arrived. Albert Wesker, your creation. Stronger, faster. Convinced he had surpassed you. He spoke of his plans, his vision. He thought he understood you. He didn't. Because even at the end, you were still ahead. You told him the truth, that he was never your successor, just another step, another experiment. And then he arrived. Too late. He killed you. But death was never your fear. Because your work didn't end with you. Your ideas spread through viruses, through people, through the world itself. Your name is Ozwell E. Spencer. You were never a hero. You were never a villain. You were something far more dangerous. A man who looked at humanity and decided it wasn't worth saving. And even now, in every outbreak, in every experiment, in every mutation, you are still there because evolution never stops.